Welcome to the United States of Small Business, a podcast where the essence of American entrepreneurship is celebrated in every episode. With host John Quick at the helm, join us as we embark on a journey through the heart of the nation, uncovering the inspiring stories of small business owners from coast to coast. Experience the vibrant energy of bustling cities and the serene beauty of small towns, all while discovering how individuals are turning their entrepreneurial dreams into reality, even against the greatest odds. Each episode brings you face to face with the dreamers, creators, and doers who form the economic backbone of our country, all sharing their spirit of innovation and resilience. Whether you are in the early stages of sowing the seeds for your own business, scaling new heights in your current venture, or simply captivated by tales of grit and triumph, you are in the right place. Tune in on platforms like Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and beyond. For deeper insights and to connect with the heart and soul of America's main streets, visit UnitedStatesOfSmallBusiness.com. Subscribe to United States of Small Business with host John Quick now and be inspired by the powerful stories of entrepreneurship, community, and the unwavering pursuit of the American dream. Begin your journey of inspiration with us today.
Welcome to another episode of the United States of Small Business podcast. I'm your host, John Quick, and today we have an exceptional guest, Chris Lautenslager. Chris is a seasoned business veteran with over 40 years of experience in the finance and economics world. He is the founder of Get Looped and the creator of the Prosperity Loop, an innovative organizational model designed to foster shared success and collective prosperity. Join us as Chris shares his insights on transforming capitalism, building a culture of trust and value, and the power in employees' well-being. This episode is packed with valuable lessons from business leaders, for business leaders, and entrepreneurs alike. So without further ado, Chris, welcome to the United States of Small Business podcast.
It's a pleasure being here, John. I'm so grateful to be able to share some time with you and your audience.
Well, this will be fun to hear kind of your story and how the Prosperity Loop has the potential to maybe help small business owners or entrepreneurs or people that are aspiring to that. First, talk to me about what's the story behind creating Prosperity Loop. Everybody's got their story. What's yours?
So my story is that I was actually retired. I was living in Breckenridge. I had a full career in New York City on Wall Street, and had moved on to, quote, the next phase of my life. And then the pandemic came, and during that time was so painful and hurtful to watch all these small businesses, all of these business families essentially be told that they had to sacrifice for the good of everyone. And then there was no follow-up with them. There was no like, hey, are we all seeing the same thing? Are we recognizing that these families, these businesses are being destroyed? And is that okay with us? And for me, it wasn't okay. See, John, I grew up in a small business family. My father had a small construction company, and I know that with families across this country, that business is like a sibling. That business is a member of the family. And when that business gets killed, gets shut down, it impacts everyone. So I took it among, I didn't hear a voice out there saying, hey, we need to acknowledge and recognize the importance of small business lives, of how valuable they are to our communities. And we just can't allow this to continue to go on. So I became engaged. I started talking to small business owners and became impassioned with being an advocate and supporter of small businesses in our communities. I think it's just so paramount for the health of our townships, of our neighborhoods, that they participate in our lives.
That's awesome. So give me the premise, for folks that have maybe never heard of Prosperity Loop, what is the basic idea behind it?
So the Prosperity Loop is the book that I wrote during this time, and it was from talking with business owners about their experiences of staying alive or having to start over. The nature of being an entrepreneur is failure. It seems we all struggle from, failure, success, growth, advancement. And we end up learning as we go along. And then we struggle. And so these were sort of an accumulation of stories and experiences from people that I'd met, from people that I'd read and learned from their experiences, and essentially about how to make your workspace, your company environment, a positive, prosperous, continuous, infinite loop of prosperity. And so there were 6 steps associated with it, about from people's experiences, how are they creating a positive work environment, a profitable work environment that they'd like to share with others.
That's awesome. So for folks listening in, the first person to email me, to John at unitedstatesofsmallbusiness.com, I'm going to send them a free copy of the book. I'll send it to them, and they can enjoy that. So email me quick because it'll go fast. I know I'll get a ton of emails, but the first person that'll do it, I'll send a copy of the book to. Chris, share with us maybe one of your favorite stories from the book.
So one of the things that was so actually insightful to me was the hiring process. And I intuitively recognized how important hiring is for small businesses. Literally, one bad employee can be disastrous for a company. And I don't think business owners give that enough recognition, enough credence. There was this mentality for many years of, I'll just hire someone else. I'll just, someone leaves, I'll fill in that spot. And that mentality, by the way, is transparent to all the other employees. So it's poisonous to have that mentality to begin with. But if you are actually not investing in your employees as being part of the team, it's really, really hurtful. So hiring and identifying the right employee is just so key. And what most people do is they focus on skill sets. They focus on, this is the skill set that I need, an accountant or salesperson. And they don't put as much emphasis on character, on integrity, on honesty, on disposition. These are the softer, I actually think they're paramount skills, as important as being productive, because you can teach those skills. You can teach skills how to be a salesperson. You can teach skills on how to be a good accountant. If they have the foundation, you can craft them into a master in those areas. But the softer underlying issues of character, integrity, honesty, those are less available, so to speak. They're kind of taught when you're younger, and subsequently being able to pull those out, being able to identify those as contributors to the success of your organization, I think is an underlooked skill, is an underlooked variable of success in a company's business.
So talk to me a little bit about kind of picking yourself back up and trying again. As you mentioned before, if somebody wants to become an entrepreneur, is an entrepreneur, wants to open a small business, oftentimes it's fall on your face 20 times before you experience success. How important is it for somebody to pick themselves back up and keep going?
It's the most important, having proper capitalization, having proper motivation are so fundamental to being successful in a small business. But having a thick skin, being able to recognize that, or just know in advance, you're going to struggle at times, and it's going to feel like there's nobody there with you. In fact, one of the things that I do is I coach entrepreneurs that are struggling and feel like they have no one to talk with. Because it's a lonely business. You're the guy, you're the or you're the woman, you're the one in charge, you're the one who everyone is coming to for answers. And that doesn't mean that you don't have questions. So I highly encourage people to get coaches, to get support, to get insight in running your business and having someone to talk with. Because as I was mentioning, it's super lonely and you are going to fail. It is the nature of being an entrepreneur. It is the toughest game around. I really do believe that because in a corporation, you fail, and you're given multiple opportunities to try again, so to speak. Um, but with your own business, it's inevitable. And so being able to pick yourself up, know that tomorrow's a better day, and sometimes that's all that you really have to go on is the belief that tomorrow will be a better day. Um, that's the type of mental toughness that's required to be successful as an entrepreneur.
That's awesome. So you mentioned that you coach and kind of mentor other folks, entrepreneurs. What's that look like? What's the process like? How could somebody get a hold of you? There's going to be folks here that listen to this and be like, man, I got to get a hold of Chris. He sounds like he is speaking my language. What's the easiest way to do that? And what does that process look like?
So the easiest way to do that is to reach out to my website. Everything's on my website, all my activities, all my training, all my seminars, the golf outing that we're having in Waukegan, Illinois for small business owners on August 12th is all located at my website at www.get-looped.com, GET-LOOPED.com. That's where you can find all the activities. My coaching's a little unique in the sense that I work specifically with small business owners, successful small business owners who have gotten distracted with some shenanigans in their personal life. Because what I found is that, I talked about that it's lonely. Well, what happens, particularly with small business owners, when they have some flexibility of time, when they have some success with some money, when things get a little bit boring, they find a way to get distracted. And
Mhm.
sometimes it leads down an unhealthy path and they feel trapped. They don't have anyone to talk with, they don't have any options, they aren't thinking logically because that neighborhood in your mind, which you're walking down a very dark street, is kind of dangerous. Being able to have someone who is non judgmental, because I'm non judgmental because I've been there before, who has worked through being in difficult situations and come out on the other side. And I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying it's possible. And having a great life after that experience. And that's really the key is being able to recognize that there is a future, regardless of how dark it seems right now. That's what I coach people through on.
Amen to that. Well, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that's maybe fresh out of college, 23, 24 age range? They want to start a business. Maybe they've dabbled in some TikTok or Instagram. What kind of advice would you give somebody just starting out in the small business or entrepreneur space?
There's so many ways I can go down this, but I'm going to actually start with the fun one. Don't do it by yourself. All right. The concept of being a self made millionaire is a fallacy. There's no such thing. Everyone is a partner, is a collaboration of work with others. And if you go in with the mentality of how can I be of service to someone? How can I help someone fulfill their dreams? That will lay the foundation of them helping you fulfill your dreams. Okay. Um, being able to collaborate, communicate, network with others is key to being successful. Okay, so that's the best advice I have is to um, work with others. You're not doing this by yourself.
So you mentioned before that your previous career, you had a successful career, I think, in the financial industry or on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Why not just sip Mai Tais on the beach and enjoy retirement? What is it in you that keeps you going?
Well, actually, so there is, for people that do that, for people that retire and are like, I've put in my X number of years, I've earned enough money, I'm going to retire. more power to you if that's what works for you. I found though that, and I believe that. I'm actually going to say I went down that road, obviously. I was in Breckenridge. I was in my spot. I love the mountains. I was skiing. I was golfing. I was doing all that. But there were these parts of me that were not as engaged. And I noticed that my thought process was slipping, was not as sharp, was things weren't coming to mind as quickly as they used to. I found that physically, I wasn't as active or engaged. So once I became re-engaged in life, once I became re-engaged in interacting with others, my mental facilities sharpened up. My desire to be in good shape, to be fit, to be active also correlated. I'm finding that when you are in a healthy environment, a healthy cycle, it leads to all areas of your life, to most areas, whether it's your health, whether it's your mental acuity, whether it's your relationships, all seem to improve. Similarly, when you're in a kind of a down slope, things just kind of start to slip away. Your health, your aches, your pains, your positive mentality, they seem to just all slide down the hill. And I don't want my next 20, 30, 50 years, and I am saying 50 legitimately. I'm 66 years old right now. With the changes that are occurring in our healthcare system and technology, our next 5 or 10 years is literally going to be revolutionary in regards to our health. So the goal really is stay healthy now, because we're going to be around a long, long, long time. Um, just I can't I can't emphasize enough that now is the time to be engaged. You're not too old. It's life hasn't passed you by. There's still so much more to go. Find something that brings you passion, get engaged. It brings you joy. It brings you fulfillment. It brings you interaction and relationships. I'm just finding that for me, it was, and actually for so many others that I'm talking with that are following this path also, we're finding that it brings a level of joy in life that I think people don't realize is available to us.
Yep. Well, Chris, 20 minutes here has gone by in a flash. Do you have any last minute thoughts here before we head off?
Just that the life that you lead today is a reflection of the choices you make. Now, not necessarily directly, as in if I do X, Y will happen tomorrow, but play the odds of probability of good things happening to you by doing good things. And the likelihood of you finding yourself in a good spot increases dramatically.
Nice. Well, you got that book. We could throw that up one more time on the screen for folks listening in. I want to encourage you to go buy that book right there, Prosperity Loop. We're going to put all the links in the podcast description. And Chris, we wish you nothing but success. We hope everybody has a phenomenal rest of their week. And until next time, I'm John Quick from the United States of Small Business Podcast. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, John.